children are having their first experience of handling dry, fine sand. Look at the way they're feeling it and sifting it through their fingers.
Joanne feels the weight of it as they bury her hands.
Look at her face and see how she's enjoying it. The texture of the material is so satisfying that they are feeling it against their faces.
Look at the concentration on Richard's face. The equipment is introduced gradually, and here they have a variety of coarse and fine-grained sieves.
You see the ordinary colander there. Discussion of the time factor comes in here. Which sieve empties first and which last and which takes longest.
You see, Joanne has discovered that she can make a pattern in the sand by pressing the colander into it. I think they're talking about the shadow of the colander now, don't you?
Yes, and the teacher tells her that it's a circular pattern. And see the perforations as well.
Stephen experiments by dropping the sand from a height and watches the level fall in the beaker as it empties. The children are always fascinated by this. The children comment that the sand feels very much like water.
They've been given a variety of scoops and spades made of wood, metal and plastic materials.
Stephen is counting the number of small scoopfuls that will fill the spade. Look at the care he takes not to spill it as he's filling the spade.
Him lifting it to eye level to have a look. They're comparing the three sizes of wooden scoop and are learning to level them by finding out which holds most and which holds least.
Here the equipment is sorted into drawers and stored nearby for easy selection. This helps them learn to categorize the equipment as well, doesn't it?
Yes. The children here are experimenting with a piece of coarse canvas. They're pressing it into the sand, and looking at the pattern it leaves, and watching the grains come through.
Dry sand is a clean material, and children who may not feel like getting messy get a lot of emotional satisfaction from it.
They're lifting the canvas up and listening as the sand falls through onto the piece of paper. Richard says it sounds like rain. This is education through all the senses.
These rakes and sand combs are for pattern making. This sort of experimentation, of course, helps with the beginnings of writing, the development of the small muscles of the hand.
They make straight and circular patterns, and the teacher shows them a pounder with circular grooves on the base. It's reinforcing the experience.
You see, here they're making a larger circle with the sand combs, feeling the resistance of the sand as they pull the combs through it.
The set of 3 combs are of different shapes. This can lead on to conversation and comparison.
funnels and clear plastic bottles offer further opportunities for filling and emptying.
Yes, we use clear plastic so that the children can see exactly what's happening.
This helps the development of visual perception, of course. There are 3 different sizes of funnel: small, middle-sized and large.
Joanne is using clear plastic tube to move the sand by blowing it. You need a good length of tube for this.
Plastic bags are only used when an adult is with the children. This, of course, is for safety.
They're surprised by the weight of the sand when they lift the bags. The teacher's talking about heavy and light. Which is the heaviest and which is the lightest?
And they find that it can change shape inside the bag. This leads to an understanding of the conservation of quantity.
These new bags have got holes in them, and the children can watch the amount become less as the sand escapes. And here again you get the vocabulary of less, more.
Tracy is nearly 5 years old and has reached the stage of being able to weigh the sand in the balance scale. Look at the concentration on her face.
She can learn what the word balance means. When you first present this equipment, most children continue to fill the pans until they overflow.
Yes, she is managing to balance the sand against cotton reels, and she's using terms such as more than, less than, same as, and level.
See how carefully she is trying to get the balance. The teacher is asking appropriate questions which will bring in the mathematical vocabulary.
Here you can see that Tracy has learned to take some out, rather than continually filling the pans.
One child said that sand looked like pepper, so here they're comparing sand and pepper.
A good tactile experience here, isn't it?
Yes, coarse and fine.
Then they examined both of them under a microscope to see the difference in the size of the grains. A discussion of shape would come in here.
Malcolm and Kim are using wet sand with cars and shells and cones, beginning to become more imaginative in their play.
Malcolm is adding more water to make a pond, and he comments that it is absorbed.
The teacher is introducing a reference book about shells and helps them to identify some of the shells they're using. You see, they can learn the names of the shells, they enjoy learning them and repeating them.
Malcolm is comparing his shell with the one in the book. In this way, the use of reference books becomes meaningful, and the children are encouraged to consult them at every opportunity to extend their language and knowledge. They're also learning about the care of books. when they're using them for reference.
To develop their knowledge of sand and its uses still further, a group of children are taken to the local sand and gravel works. A mother and a nursery nurse go with them, together with the teacher, to talk with the children about what they're seeing. We try to take the children out at every opportunity when we want to extend their knowledge and experience.
When they return to school, Ian and Joanne reproduce the sandhoppers filling the lorries with some of their play equipment. This is how they reinforce the learning situation.
Yes, by playing it out, they're clarifying their understanding.
Claire and the boys are picking twigs to plant in the sand garden that they have made. This is an imaginative development in their use of sand.
Because sand is a basic material, children need to explore and experiment. The teacher needs to extend their experience and encourage meaningful use of appropriate language. The teacher chose this equipment when she was planning some of the learning situations. This is one of the most important tasks a teacher has.
The findings and conclusions reached by the Preschool Education Project Team are detailed in the research report. This, together with 2 to 5, a background book for students and teachers, is published for the Schools Council by Macmillan Education.